Hi, it's me, Tim Dodd, the Everyday Astronaut. Welcome to the very first launch from the US, I believe, in 2020. Happy New Year, everyone. How are you guys? I hope everything's okay. I redid some graphics today and everything, but it's a good reason to, because we're starting a new year, and I'm just really excited. This is going to be a huge year for spaceflight. I mean, we have too many Starlink missions. I'm going to go ahead and say it. Too many. We will get sick of these missions by the end of the year. There's going to be, 20, 24, something like that of these missions every other week. I'm saying it now. I probably won't be able to cover them all because of my travel schedule and stuff like that. But yeah, there's going to be a ton of awesome stuff. We also will hopefully have we'll talk about this in a second, but DM2 In-Flight Abort in like a week and a half. Probably some Starship stuff. We'll hopefully see crew flight test for Boeing. We'll see a lot of stuff. Oh, we're going to send there's like a billion things going to Mars this year because of the Mars window. It's going to be amazing. So this is going to be a really fun year as a space flight enthusiast. If you're new around here, we're gonna be seeing each other a lot because there's a lot of really exciting stuff. But let's start off with tonight, because tonight is, of course, Starlink. SpaceX is going to be launching 60 more satellites. So let's take a look at that. So of course, we're going to go to a little website called everydayastronaut.com, clicking on pre-launch previews here, and we'll just click on the current mission, which is Starlink. Ta-da! All right, so this is subject to take off tonight, and as you can tell by our countdown clock over there, in 26 minutes from right now. So that's great. And everything's on time. Everything's looking good as far as I can tell. This is Starlink 2. So they kind of had Starlink, which was 60 operational 60 kind of test-ish satellites that they sent up earlier last year. Then they did Starlink 1, I guess, which is the next. That was kind of the first real official set of Starlink satellites. So this is the second. This is now Starlink 2. So once this, we'll keep talking about this. The launch provider is SpaceX. The customer is SpaceX, because Starlink are SpaceX satellites. And that is very unusual. I can't actually think of another time a rocket launcher, an actual launch company, also produced and launched their own satellite. I'm sure it actually happened with Boeing back when Boeing was doing the Delta line. Wait, was Delta line Boeing, or was that Lockheed? Whichever one, either Delta. Yeah. Lockheed did the Atlas at the time, and there was the Delta series with Boeing. Maybe they launched one of their own satellite buses. I'm sure that's happened before. But yeah, so here we go. This is going to be something. This is something fun to watch. But this is taking off, of course, on a Falcon 9 rocket, Block 5, which is all we'll see anymore. And this particular one is 1049.4. So of course, the .4 means it's the fourth time this particular rocket will have flown, which is awesome. 4 is still the record. I don't think we've seen a fifth flight, if I think that's right. I don't think we've seen a fifth flight yet, but we're starting to see those numbers come more and more often. So, yeah. And this is taking off at Space Launch Complex 40, or Slick 40 as it's called, at Cape Canaveral Air Force Station. Of course, the fact that it says SLC means it's on Cape Canaveral Air Force Station. If it just said LC, Launch Complex only, that would be at Kennedy Space Center, which is right next door. They're literally just a couple kilometers apart from each other. They basically touch. They just are arbitrarily divided. The payload mass, these are big. These are big, 15,600 kilograms. They really do push the Falcon 9 pretty hard, but luckily it's only going to low Earth orbit. So 450 kilometers is its eventual orbit. I think its target orbit's actually lower than that. So Yeah, so that's going to be great. They are, of course, attempting to recover the first stage. We really hope they do, because hopefully we'll start to see these fourth flown boosters fly again for the 5th, 6th, 7th. Hopefully these are the boosters we'll see fly 10 times. That would be very exciting and a very good sign of things to come. They will be attempting to recover, the first stage, like I said. Oh, sorry, on the Droneship, it's 629 kilometers downrange, which is about how far pretty much all these missions will be. So that's we'll get pretty used to that. That is very far for a Falcon 9. That's about as far as a Falcon 9 can get. Of course, Falcon Heavy will be over 1,000 kilometers. Jeez. Hi, guys. Oh, I'll get to you guys in a second. Thank you already. Jeez. Let's see here. They are attempting to catch one of the fairing halves on Go Mystery. The other half they'll try to pluck out of the water. They are not releasing both boats, it seems, last I knew. So, yeah, that's a little sad, because we really do. I'm really waiting for the day that they come home with 2 fairings that they plucked out of the sky, each boat, collecting each fairing half. Those fairings are millions upon millions of dollars. So probably $2 or $3 million each half. So definitely recovering both of them and not having to refurbish them if they don't touch the water is definitely a good thing. So we don't know if these have flown before, if they're used or not. We'll find out hopefully when we listen in on the launch. This is the 78th flight of a Falcon 9, 21st flight of a Falcon 9 Block 5, 48th booster landing, if successful, which we expect it to be, and the first mission for SpaceX in 2020. This is going to be a busy, busy year. And here is our graphic, of course, from Jeff Barrett. Take a look at this if you guys just kind of need a quick overview, and be sure and follow him on Twitter and read the rest of this article if you guys need kind of more of another rundown. If you need to look back at it, this article is written by Trevor Says Nick. So everyone say thanks, Trevor, for an awesome job covering this. I really quickly want to, before we get on to you guys, I want to show you guys this. NASA tweeted this earlier today. This is the actual In-Flight Abort Dragon capsule that SpaceX has waiting for next week, basically. So I'm going to be down at the Cape for this. So I will be bringing you live stream coverage from the Cape. And I'm going to be doing some really special things. I have, so you know how you guys know me. I always like to try to upgrade my equipment. I have this really cool, like, portable HDMI switcher now. So I'll be able to switch cameras. I'll literally have different feeds and different cameras and be able to bring you this kind of coverage. I'm going to be sitting there at the Cape, and I'll have an iPad with me, and I'll be able to read things and throw it to your screen so you can read along with me, just like this. It'll feel like this. It'll hopefully be just as good a quality as what I do here, but at the Cape, I'll even be trying out, fingers crossed, a tracking camera that I will be controlling with a joystick on a telescope. And we're going to see if we can't actually get really good footage in 4K, 120 frames a second of that booster and the in-flight abort. They're going to be pulling the Dragon capsule off of the Falcon 9 booster. The booster's going to disintegrate either intentionally or likely unintentionally. Either way, it's going to be spectacular, and I'm going to do the best job I can to bring you guys some awesome footage. So, and it is the 18th. Yep. 18th in-flight abort, so that will be really exciting. I will be going down there, so yeah, get ready. It's going to be awesome. I've got a lot of cool things. And Discord, I will be telling you guys more about plans that I have coming up. So I'll be scheduling our Patreon exclusive Discord here before I leave for that. So get ready. I'll be telling you guys some extra stuff. It looks like I've got a lot to get from you. Hang on here. Is this not going yet? Okay. I'll keep listening in here. Let's just chat, a couple of us here. Looks like you guys are being very awesome today. Thank you very much. Astronaut Central, thank you so much. That really means a lot. Alec Decker, Happy New Year. Thank you very much. It's going to be a huge, huge, huge year. And Guggets, Everyday Astronaut, please remember to give us your professional expertise on pointy end up, flamey end down. I had to get reoriented. What was it that threw me off recently that didn't have a very pointy end and it was all discombobulated? Something confused me and really changed my ability to really determine a good pointy end up, flamey end down. And I don't know if I've been able to recover. I will try tonight, see if my senses are honed in on that. Thank you so much, Guggets. That's very, very nice of you. Oh, yeah, Sandra Burton. We have 2 new members, Sandra and Armand. I now updated everyone. If you are a member, hit colon and then start typing astronaut, and you can see all the new stickers and emotes. I added a bunch. I also made it so Your memberships change, your little symbol changes based on how long you've been a member. So I'll be able to tell for those of you, there's a couple of you that I think are over. I think there's a couple of you that that have been here for like over a year. And if you get to 2 years, there's a cool golden icon. I'm really excited to see those. So thank you guys. You guys are awesome. Like I said, hit colon, start typing astronaut, and you'll see all the emotes. I'm pretty excited about that. Alex, happy 12,020 host got merch. Awesome, Alex. Thank you so much. You are awesome. Happy New Year. Do you think a 50-pound rabbit is a big rabbit? Ash, yes. It wouldn't be that big in space. I mean, it'd be easy to push that amount of mass around. It'd still obviously be, X kilograms of, whatever, 22.5 or whatever kilograms of mass you'd have to push around. But, it'd be easier to do that in space than to probably have to shove a rabbit on the floor. There you go. There's your stuff for the day. David, thank you so much. That is awesome. I really like these pairs, and thank you so much for your kind donation. Miles Miller, hey Tim, always love watching your streams and videos. I built my Saturn V Lego set last night while wearing an Apollo shirt from your store. Love the work and keep it up. That is awesome, Miles. I wish I could say that that's not a normal night for me. I feel like I'm almost always wearing some ridiculous shirt and playing with space toys. Thank you very much. And Autumn, thank you for the new membership. Sarah, NASA. Ooh, we have... Ooh. That's my cue that we need to make this baby full screen and get ready for this. Because, ladies and gentlemen, we have SpaceX radio going. Let me know if that's too loud. I will also put that up in the little screen here for us. Give me 1 second. Ta-da! I'm gonna have to relearn all this stuff for the mobile setup I have, and it's gonna be a mess. And I'm gonna mess up a lot, but you guys are gonna be there and laugh at me, I promise. Thank you very much, Autumn. Sarah, NASA Space Shuttle Launcher and Hubble Payload. NASA Space Shuttle. Oh, well, that doesn't quite count. I don't consider that. I definitely meant like private company. NASA's been launching their own rockets and their own payloads, still contracted out, of course, but I don't think that counts in my arbitrary idea. But that's good on you. Good call, and thank you. Soldier of the Ark, thank you so much. The Jim Bean gang? What? Is that supposed to be Jimmy Bean is in my buddy Jim Bridenstine? Because I'm on that. I'm in that gang. Capper 2X, thank you so much. That's awesome. Thank you. Jonah, oh, you're right. I do need to watch The Expanse. I promise I'll watch that. Maybe I'll download it for when I'm going down to Florida and stuff and give that a listen. Although I need to probably watch, I'm sure it's very visually pleasing, so maybe that's not the best thing for that. I will get on that, but I do need to see it. Everyone tells me it's great. So thank you. Thomas, thank you very much for the other pair. I want to know what the pairs are. These pairs are very confusing to me. Justin, thank you so much for the membership. Bacon Lube, interesting. Big congrats on almost 500K. Thank you. I am excited. I was hoping to try to hit 500K by the end of the year. I fell just short, and that's okay. I think a lot of us are familiar. Elon Musk always sets really high goals and really aggressive timelines. Knowing that at least if you're trying for that, even if you don't quite reach it, you're still like way above what would kind of be a normal year. I was really happy. I still more than doubled the subscribers from last year. I was really excited about 2019 and and I'm even more excited about 2020. 2020 is going to have some amazing things, and yeah, so thank you guys. Thank you. Alex, thank you again for the merch. Happy 2020 again. We have lots of new members popping in here. Bjorn, thank you. Bjorn, Kevin, Ice Wallow, David, thank you for the memberships. Enables, my full flow shirt came in today. Appreciate the work on the shipping team did. Yeah, I like the cellophane that it comes in. It comes in that like cool packaging with remove before flight stickers. Actually, I'm starting something new in 2020, guys. Just so you know, I'm starting a thing. We're going to do launch day merch. So today I'm wearing the Aerospike engine t-shirt. Of course, this is one of my favorite shirts. And I'm making it so if you get this shirt today, the Aerospike shirt, type in the code at checkout, type in launch day, lowercase, launch day, 2 words. That's also in the description. Read the description. And you can get your hands on the Linear Aerospike Engine Rocket t-shirt, which is still one of my favorite engines ever. So yeah, take 10% off the shirt today by typing in launch day. And this will only be available for 24 hours. So that's something I'm going to start doing so that there's kind of some extra hype and thanking you guys for watching what I do and my chance to kind of say thanks for watching. And of course, if you work in the aerospace company, for an aerospace company, take 25% off all my apparel all the time. That is as a thank you to you for inspiring me, for doing all the actual hard work, the wrenching, the engineering, the science, the mathematics, the hard work, going in, grinding 24/7 to get humans further along into the cosmos. So click on that link. I'm constantly improving the registered domains for that, so you'll get your coupon code right away. You'll get 25% off. So we're adding. I didn't know how many aerospace companies there were. There are a ton of these little aerospace companies that I have to look up and be like, is that a legit? Yes, it is a legit aerospace company. This is really cool. It makes me excited. So yeah, go ahead and take a look at that. And thank you guys again for hanging out with me. That always means a lot. You guys are awesome. All right, let's go back to waiting here. And thank you, though, Enables. And Orion, thanks for the membership. Convergerant. Hi, Tim. What video topics do you have coming up? Keep up the great work. So I'm glad you asked. I got my research and script that I had done so far for how much do rockets pollute. Started getting some feedback from people, and I've got some work to do. I got it peer reviewed by some people that I trust a lot in the industry. People that when they say you might want to rethink this, a lot of it's methodology, and me not being a climate science expert, and someone that really I'm pretty clueless on that stuff. So I'm having to again start from scratch. So I'm taking their word because they're obviously industry experts. So when they say like, here's why your methodology has failed, and I'm starting to rework the script, rework some research. Also, is starting to talk with Declan Murphy of Flight Club. We're trying to come up with a model which is actually never been used before, I don't think, that would give us a really good sense of how long like CO2 and water vapor would stay in the atmosphere based on different rockets. It'll be really cool. And it will give us a really good sense of the actual economic or the actual environmental impact of rockets. And I think I am going to actually, I'm breaking a rule. I'm going to break this up into 3 parts, I think, because I think it'll just be too long. Every one of these things, I'm going to go learn how to track space debris. Hopefully, I have 2 people that I'm going to be, 2 experts that I'm going to be talking to about that in person. So I think it's better that I just take it as like air pollution, ocean and ground pollution, and space pollution. And actually talk and go through all of it, you know. And of course, Starlink is a big subject right now with space pollution. So here we go, guys. I'll get back to you guys in a little bit. But Convergerant, I'll talk more about what else is coming up. There's a lot. There's a lot. But thank you, guys. Let's listen in. I'm trying to not talk over them while they listen so I can hear it. But I'll come back to you guys. There's going to be a coast period for these Starlink missions, so we'll hang out for a little bit then. Looks like they have a slightly updated intro for 2019. All right, let's listen in here, guys.
You are looking at a live view of the Falcon 9 as it awaits its 9:19 p.m. Eastern Time launch from Cape Canaveral Air Force Station in Florida. Good evening. It is January 6th here at SpaceX headquarters in Hawthorne, California. My name is Lauren Lyons, and I'm an engineer on the Starlink team here at SpaceX, and welcome to the first SpaceX launch of 2020. Now, as many of you know, we just launched 60 Starlink satellites back in November, and today we'll be launching another 60. That, combined with the additional 60 we launched back in May, bring our total count of Starlink satellites launched to over 180. With Starlink, SpaceX plans to bring high-speed, low-latency broadband internet to people across the globe, particularly to places where connectivity has been unreliable, too expensive, or even completely unavailable. Our goal is to start offering service in the northern United States and Canada later this year, expanding to a near-global constellation after another 22 launches. And of course, the more launches we have, the more opportunities we have to reuse these boosters. In fact, this one will be entering its 4th flight, the one that you see right there on the pad. This first stage first flew the Telstar 18 Vantage mission in September 2018, followed by the Iridium-8 mission in January 2019, and most recently, our first launch of 60 Starlink satellites back in May 2019. We're going to be attempting to recover this Falcon 9 first stage for the 4th time on our drone ship, Of Course I Still Love You, which is currently stationed about 339 nautical miles off the east coast of Florida. We will also be attempting to recover a payload fairing. A payload fairing half using one of our fairing recovery vessels, Miss Tree. We're continuing countdown to liftoff right now, but if for some reason we have to call hold on today's launch, we'll have a backup opportunity tomorrow, January 7th at 8:57 p.m. Eastern. But at this time, all systems are go for an on-time liftoff.
My name is Jesse Anderson, and I'm a lead manufacturing engineer here at SpaceX. Right now, we're looking at a live view of Falcon 9, our 70-meter two-stage liquid-fueled launch vehicle. Falcon 9 rolled out to the pad with the payload and went vertical early this morning. The chief engineer held a technical poll at T-1 hour, and launch director held a propellant load and launch go, no-go poll at T-38 minutes. Falcon 9 has been loading propellant since T-35 minutes, and currently our rocket-grade kerosene, or what we call RP-1, is nearly fully loaded on the first stage, which is the bottom two-thirds of the vehicle that you see there on the screen. The first stage is responsible for accelerating the vehicle through Earth's atmosphere to the edge of space with the help of 9 Merlin engines. Above that first stage is the second stage, which has a single Merlin vacuum or MVAC engine, which ignites after the first stage separates. The second stage is what will carry the Starlink satellites to an altitude of 290 kilometers above the Earth's surface. At this time, the second stage is fully loaded with fuel, and liquid oxygen is currently loading on both stages. The stack of 60 satellites is safely enclosed inside of the 17-foot diameter payload fairing, which is the pointed enclosure on the very top of the rocket, and you can see that right there on your screen. Once we reach the vacuum of space, we will deploy the fairing as the second stage continues on its journey to orbit. As for weather, looks like we have some mostly clear skies with some light winds, overall looking good for an on-time launch today in Cape Canaveral. But we will continue to monitor this all the way down to T-0 to ensure that weather remains good for launch. The Air Force range is prepared to support today's mission. Waters are clear of any ships, and the range continues to ensure the safety of our launch. With that, the vehicle, satellites, weather, and range are all looking good for an on-time liftoff just a few minutes from now.
Now, if you've been following Starlink's development, you might know that most satellite internet services today come from geostationary satellites. These are single satellites that orbit the planet at about 35,000 kilometers, covering a fixed region above the Earth. Starlink, on the other hand, is a constellation of multiple satellites that orbit the planet at a much lower altitude, at about 550 kilometers, and they cover the entire globe. And because they're in a low orbit, the round-trip data time between the user and the satellite, also known as latency, is much lower than with satellites in geostationary orbit. This enables Starlink to deliver services like online gaming that are usually not possible on other satellite broadband systems. Now, after the Starlink satellites are deployed from Falcon 9 at 290 kilometers above the Earth, they'll use their onboard ion thrusters to raise themselves to their operational altitude of 550 kilometers. As you may recall, these ion thrusters are powered by Krypton, making Starlink the first Krypton-propelled spacecraft ever flown. Now, during orbit raise, the satellites are closely clustered together, and their solar arrays are positioned in a special low-drag configuration, making the satellites appear visible from the ground just after deployment. However, once the satellites reach their operational altitude and begin on-station service, their orientation changes, and the satellites become significantly less visible. While it's really cool to catch a glimpse of those satellites from the ground, they can sometimes be a distraction for astronomers. So on this flight, Starlink is testing an experimental darkening treatment on one satellite in order to further reduce the light reflection on the satellites. We also make early satellite tracking data available to astronomers so they can better coordinate their observations with their satellites. These measures, along with our work with leading astronomy groups, will enable SpaceX to bring internet access to underserved and unserved populations around the world without materially impacting views of the night sky.
We are currently about 5.5 minutes from liftoff. Falcon 9 is now moving into the final stages of the countdown. At T-7 minutes, engine chill began. This is where we allow a small amount of the super chilled liquid oxygen to flow into the Merlin engine turbo pumps prior to the full flow of liquid oxygen into the vehicle to avoid any shocks to the system. Liquid oxygen is also what is creating the white puffs around Falcon 9. We continue to load super-chilled liquid oxygen, or LOX, into the stage until just before liftoff. And when that super-chilled liquid oxygen comes into contact with the ambient air around it, it creates the clouds that you will see around the vehicle on your screen right there. And just a few moments ago, or coming up in about 15 seconds actually, at T-minus 4.5 minutes, the transport erector will retract away from the rocket slightly and provide some clearance of Falcon 9 for liftoff. You should be able to see that on your screen. The first and second stages are both nearly fully loaded with 1 million pounds of kerosene fuel and liquid oxygen. First stage should finish prop loading at T-minus 3 minutes and second stage at T-minus 2 minutes. At T-minus 60 seconds, be sure to listen in for the call out that Falcon 9 is in startup. This means that the rocket's autonomous internal flight computers have taken over the launch countdown. The Starlink payloads continue to be healthy. The Falcon 9 team is tracking no issues on the rocket. Weather is looking good. The range is green for launch. So let's listen in to the last few minutes of the countdown.
I don't know why, but this is one of my favorite parts. Again, I'll try not to talk over the countdown that too much because we'll hear a few extra things here. But yeah, some fun reminders here, guys. The booster looks dirty. They kind of talked about that because this is the 4th time this booster has flown. But do remember that little line right below the word SpaceX, right where it gets a lot darker. You can see above that, where SpaceX is, that is where the RP1, or that's where the liquid oxygen tank is, And the reason why it stays cleaner is because it is actually kind of has a sheet of ice around it, and that protects it from some of that re-entry. I did a video about that. Why does the Falcon 9 go up white and come black and white? Because it was kind of confusing at first, like the weird pattern that ends up on there. And of course, the bottom portion is all just the RP1, which doesn't have that protective ice barrier. It's pretty cool, pretty stinking cool. But yeah, we'll be doing some other call-outs during the launch, but for now, I'll get back to reading some of your guys' stuff.
Stage 1 LOX loads closed down.
All right, LOX closed down, they said. So basically the vehicle is topped off now, and you will start to see more venting once it's topped off. That means that they're done fully pressurizing the tanks, and that means that we'll see the tanks will be full. So as liquid oxygen boils off, as it goes from that liquid state into a gaseous state, it expands, they vent it out. So you'll actually start to see quite a bit here as the vehicle, some of that starts to boil off and warm up from the ambient temperature. So yeah, Kiwi Bros, thank you so much. That is awesome. I'm glad that I helped teach and inspire you and get you excited about space. I promise you guys, we will not be alone in 2020. There's going to be so many awesome spaceflight events this year that it's really going to help awaken the general public. There will be a lot more people paying attention. There's going to be a lot of awesome science, a lot of groundbreaking missions, and finally seeing more human spaceflight activity. At least renewed interest in the western half of the world. Good old Soyuz. Thank you, Soyuz, for being the rock that you have been for the past 9 years. If it wasn't for you, we would be stuck down here, which is just the most horrifying thing to me. That has been 9 years, and we've only had one launch vehicle for human spaceflight. There we go. Now you can see that major venting of the rocket. But this year, 2020, is going to be huge. When humans start flying from Florida again, from Cape Canaveral, I'll bet you we're going to see bigger crowds for those launches than we even did for Falcon Heavy. It'll probably be the most watched and biggest spaceflight events of the 21st century, I'll bet. So that's really, really exciting. And it's not so long Soyuz. We still need Soyuz. Also, I did see someone mention that they said CO2 is not pollution. No, you're right. CO2 is not pollution, and neither is water vapor, of course, but they have drastic effects on our planet. And that's, all we have to do is look at one of our neighbors, Venus, to see what happens when you have too much CO2 and the runaway effect that greenhouse gases can have. So, so I'll be talking a lot about that in that video. I hope it's not controversial. It's just simply science. I'm not making any political statements. It's just here's the data. So I hope that somehow it's talking about climate change and pollution doesn't trigger people. I hope not. I think our spaceflight audience understands how that stuff works, and it's going to be a really fun topic And it's something important because, I mean, here we are. We
T-minus
have,
15 seconds.
you know, Elon Musk and NASA, these people that obviously care about climate change and global warming.
10, 9,
launching rockets. So let's
8,
watch the rocket.
7,
I'll shut up now.
6,
Here we go.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition, liftoff. Here's Starlink to the Falcon, Spaceport to Canaveral launch.
Vehicle is pitching downrange.
Stage 1 propulsion nominal.
We are T plus
Power
45
telemetry
seconds
nominal.
into liftoff, and we have just had liftoff of our Falcon 9 vehicle carrying our Starlink payload. In just about 15 seconds from now, we will be passing through Max Q. This is the largest
Vehicle is
aerodynamic
supersonic.
pressure that the vehicle will see throughout ascent.
Okay, sometimes you can kind
And
of
we've got
see
an
it.
awesome view of liftoff right now.
So we are looking down.
Vehicle is passing through maximum dynamic pressure.
And we just heard that call out for passing through Max Q. Now coming up in about a minute will be a rapid succession of events. Main engine cutoff, or what we call MECO, followed immediately by stage separation and SES1, which is second engine start. Now MECO is where we shut down that main engine on the first stage booster to allow the vehicle to slow down just enough to separate
And back
from
engine
second
fill.
stage.
I love watching the exhaust
If you're
gas
just now
expand.
joining us, we have an awesome onboard view of our vehicle Falcon 9.
Ooh, yeah.
And in about 30 seconds will be those three events: MECO, main engine cutoff, stage separation, and SES1.
Oh, that's cool. I love these tracking cameras so much. Oh, it's a little bit out of focus. Come on, pull the focus just a little bit. There we go.
And there is MECO,
MECO.
as you saw those engines shut down.
Stage separation confirmed.
And there is stage separation and second engine start. You can see that second engine on your right screen glowing bright red.
I'll talk about that.
Now, in about 20 seconds, we will have fairing deploy. And we should be able to see this on our screen as well. And on that left screen there, you can see the grid fins. It's a bit dark on the East Coast right now, so hard to see, but we did see those grid fins deploy.
I love that. I love seeing the coast of Florida already with all the night lights.
Fairing separation
And
confirmed.
there is fairing deploy. So as Lauren mentioned earlier, we will be attempting to catch one of the fairing halves on our recovery vessel, Miss Tree, but we will not be able to show this live, so check in with our social media for updates.
So cool. I think they've only caught 2 fairings so far, am I right? I don't think they've actually caught more than 2, so this would be only the 3rd? Maybe the 4th?
Acquisition of signal, Bermuda.
And they've only reflown 1 set of fairings, and those weren't even ones that they caught. They fished those out of the water and were able to still reuse them.
That is beautiful. Now, there are a series of events coming up with both Stage 1 and Stage 2 before we reach our parking orbit and enter that first coast phase. The first is the Stage 1 entry burn. That is when Stage 1 is re-entering the Earth's upper atmosphere. It will reignite 3 of its Merlin 1D engines in order to slow the vehicle down as it re-enters so that it doesn't break apart because we want to land it. That burn's going to last for just under 20 seconds or so. And at that point, the burn will end. You'll hear the call out entry burn shut down. A couple minutes after that, we will see our stage 1 landing burn. That is where we will reignite one engine, E9. It's that one right in the middle. And it's going to burn for just over 20 seconds and hopefully leave stage 1 standing up nice and tall on that drone ship. But at the very
Second
same
stage on
time,
nominal trajectory.
as you just heard, second stage is on a nominal trajectory. That's really good news. And speaking of second stage, right as the drone ship lands, you should hear the call out for SECO 1. That's where we shut down the second stage engine to enter that coast phase.
I always see the question about the pulsating foil. I still don't know exactly, so I'm going to stop acting like I think I might have any idea what it is, and I'm going to post this up on Twitter and see if we can't get Elon
So
to
far,
tell
stage
us
2's trajectory continues to be nominal.
exactly what it is. Maybe it'll shed some insight. Because, yeah, the foil, it does definitely, you know...
Stage 1 has also drifted up to its highest altitude and is now beginning its descent.
I think that'd be pretty cool. I would love to know exactly.
That's that image over to the left. It's dark outside. Oh, dark in space.
I'm assuming a lot of the foil is just from pulsating, especially when it's coasting, of RCS and other lead valves and things like that. But
All right, in about 10 seconds, you should see that entry burn start on your
Stage
left
1
side.
FTS is saved.
Stage 1, entry burn startup.
it's crazy how routine even these landings have become now.
All right.
Stage 1, entry burn shutdown.
And we just had a good shutdown of that entry burn.
Oh, I love watching the grid.
Meanwhile,
fins do
the
their
second
thing now.
stage continues at full power with over 200,000 pounds of thrust.
Stage 2 following nominal trajectory.
Oh no, that always cuts out. The plasma is actually what.
All right, looks like we lost
Caused it
signal,
to-
but that's fine. We should be acquiring it again soon. Now, stage 2 continues to burn, taking those Starlink satellites to their first parking orbit. Stage 1 is coasting down, steering its way using those grid fins down to the drone ship. At about T plus 8 minutes and 3 seconds, right around there, you're going to see that landing burn start.
Stage
and
1, entry transonic.
Oh, and as you just heard, we've just gone transonic on stage 1 as it's making its way back down to the drone ship.
Okay.
So the atmosphere is actually what's slowing the vehicle down, stage 1, as it's now re-entering the Earth's atmosphere and coming down to the thicker parts. That's what slows the vehicle down.
Okay, landing burn. Hopefully they'll be able
Stage
to
1, landing burn startup.
show us a feed from the drone ship. Yep, there we go.
All right.
It's
You
looking
can see
good.
that light on the left. Stage 1
Stage 2
making
is
its
under
way.
terminal guidance.
Stage 1, landing leg
All right.
deploy.
Here we go. Oh yeah, they nailed it.
And yes! We have another landing. This is the 4th landing of this vehicle and the 48th Falcon 9 first stage landing to date. This is awesome.
We're just seeing them reuse them
We
over
got
and
video
over.
the whole time. That was cool.
Great feed too.
All right, stage 2
Stage
is still
2
doing work.
FTS is saved.
Didn't even cut out.
SECO should be coming up any moment.
2020, new year. That was awesome.
SECO.
And we may have lost video, but we've heard confirmation of SECO.
Came below as expected.
And let's listen to see if we're in a good
GNC
orbit.
confirms good insertion accuracy.
Insertion
All
burn.
right, and GNC has confirmed good orbital insertion. Now with that, we're about to enter a coast phase, so we're going to take a quick break, but we'll be leaving you with this cool animation that lets you visualize where Falcon and the Starlink satellites are on orbit. We'll be back at about T plus 44 minutes for a second stage relight, followed by another coast
Newfoundland
period, and
acquisition
then
of signal.
deployment of the Starlink 60 satellites.
Sweet. I love it. So we didn't get a cutout during the whole feed of the landing. So I know they've been working on a lot of different solutions to really make that not cut out. And I think that is officially, from what I've seen, I think that's the best stream we've ever had of a landing. It really didn't even seem like it cut any frames. So awesome work. There's always been, I love, so I do a podcast every week called Our Ludicrous Future. If you don't subscribe, you can do it here on YouTube. You can also, any of your podcasting apps, give it a listen. It's me and two other YouTubers, Joe Scott from Answers with Joe, Ben Solons from Teslanomics. We talk about future stuff. I, of course, talk about rockets and spaceflight, but I love EVs and I love cars and motorcycles. I grew up working on those all the time, so I've always loved that type of stuff. But one of the things that we talk about all the time, or it's come up multiple times when we do our we do this thing called Why Don't They Just? And there's so many, why don't they just put a buoy out there with a different, a cable running to it for the camera, and then the antenna array on the buoy, or bounce it off another ship, or why don't they have a drone to video? They've been playing around with a lot of things, and at the end of the day, the biggest reason is, how much money is it actually worth to provide 5 seconds of completely non-monetarily valuable live stream video for YouTube? Like what's the price on that? If you are a company, are you going to spend 100,000 on a solution? Maybe, yeah, 100,000 so you can, keep the fans up to date. 200,000, yeah. $1 million? Will you spend $1 million if it means that we don't get a cut feed? That's starting to get up there. 2 million, 10 million. Like, if you want to look into video feed systems and these relay dishes and all these omnidirectional, unidirectional, bouncing off this and that and doing all these crazy things, video stuff gets really expensive. Really, really expensive really, really, really quickly, especially when you're doing satellite relays and all that type of stuff. So I think that's what it came down to. They're just trying to find a solution that didn't cost millions of dollars, didn't put anyone at risk or inside the inclusion zone, didn't have a drone flying around a rocket that's a $20 million rocket that is shooting plasma everywhere that will also probably destroy any link to a drone. Imagine if you had a drone flying as it's landing, and what if the radar is something attached to the drone instead of the drone ship or something, Think about the potential interferences that they were probably trying to figure out. And at the end of the day, you just go, what's worth it? And whatever they figured out, they must have found the right compromise of, ta-da, it's worth it. So I had two other questions that I want to, Starlink won't actually help, guys, unfortunately. Think about it. Starlink you still have to bounce it up. You still have to send a satellite signal, a RF signal, straight up through the exhaust plume of the rocket. So unfortunately, Starlink won't actually really help with the booster landings, but whatever they figured out now seems to be great. So I hope that continues to be a good thing and it just gets better and better. So, so just keep that in mind. I also saw the question, we're looking at second stage here for a second. I'll actually rewind. I have two questions that I want to answer. One of them, of course, is when second stage lights up. I want to talk about this every time because it is a good question. Watch second stage light up on the screen, on the right side of the screen, and you'll see a ring deploy. Boop. I talked about this last time. That is a cork stiffener. So the niobium nozzle that the second stage vacuum engine is made out of is very thin. It's actually very fragile, and it really only holds really well together when it's under pressure. Because think about it, the entire inside of that engine is being exerted pressure on, and actually that pressure exerting is also what helps physically push the vehicle forward. So by having it until it's actually under some kind of pressure, there's actually a cork ring that lines the outside to make sure that it stays, the right amount of rigid, keeps it protected inside the inner stage as it's sitting inside there. You don't want it like dangling around. So it's just a ring stiffener. It's apparently made out of cork or some similar material. And as soon as the engine lights up, it basically kicks it out. And so we see it sometimes break off in different ways, but that's what that is. And like I said, the other thing we're trying to figure out, and I'll ask Mr. Musk himself via Twitter, as he likes to answer questions on Twitter, is what exactly the pulses are of the upper stage. That one's not as obvious, but even when it's coasting, as a matter of fact, when it's coasting now, maybe we'll get some feeds of it. But let me make sure we're all the way caught up. I'll show you that in a second. Even while it's coasting, there's oftentimes bleeds, certain things that they're kind of pulsating a little bit. I still don't know exactly what it is. I assume it's some kind of purge valve for like the liquid oxygen tank or something like that. But that is stuff that I definitely want to talk about at some point and get the answers to. Yeah, someone wants me to go show the plasma. The plasma reentry is always fun. This was a really good one. It lasted pretty long. So remember, the same thing that cuts out the live feed for the Droneship is also the same thing that cuts out the live feed from reentry. It's plasma. It's superheated gas. It's gas getting so compressed that it's actually turning into plasma, and you just cannot transmit through that. The space shuttle also had a radio signal blackout. But yeah, that reentry, it's compression of the air molecules, and you're compressing them so much that it just gets really, really crazy hot, and that can destroy things. And it creates this like bow shock of plasma and hot gas that the radio waves just simply can't cut through. So actually, Starlink might help a little bit more with that than the downlink on the Droneship, because Starlink, if the vehicle's coming in at a certain angle, it might actually potentially through that bow shock wave of plasma might have a link to a Starlink satellite. Maybe, I don't know. But once it's landing on the Droneship, that plasma is literally like all these crazy vibrations and everything from the engine is literally spewing out all over the satellite dish and everything. So, yeah, so that's always fun to look at. So, I had one more question that I wanted to answer before I get into your guys' questions. I did see someone ask, and it might have been a troll, but I want to make sure I'm at least covering the answer for people that genuinely don't know. They said, how does a rocket engine work in space if there's no oxygen? That's, of course, a valid question. And the reason is, that's why they bring their own oxygen. That's why on a vehicle like this, about 2/3 of each tank, that fuselage is made up of about 2/3 liquid oxygen. What was that? Sorry, I just heard something in the feed. About 2/3 liquid oxygen, and liquid oxygen is significantly more dense than gaseous oxygen, like 1,000 times more dense. And then it's about 1/3 full of RP1 or rocket propellant 1, rocket grade kerosene. So they bring their own oxygen with them, and that oxidizer, you don't have to use oxygen. You can use other oxidizers. Of course, there's, just more acquisition of things. There's, what is it, like I don't even know. Like I'm really bad at this actually. Nitrous oxide is one. Basically, anything that ends with the word oxide is an oxidizer, and some are better than others. And so that is literally why rockets bring their own oxygen, because you're right, there is no oxygen in space. And that's how rocket engines work, and that's why rocket engines are the only thing that really work for space travel. Of course, you can use ion propulsion, and that is extremely efficient, like what Starlink will actually use. Each satellite has its own ion thruster using krypton as the propellant, and it's literally just being ejected out the back. Just these tiny, lightweight molecules ejected out the back very fast, very efficient, but very, very, very underpowered. So, yeah, hopefully that helps answer questions. I know that's always something that's kind of confusing, but yeah. And before we move on here, I did want to remind you guys that I told you I'm doing 10% off of this shirt for 24 hours. So you have until tomorrow to get 10% off the Aerospike engine t-shirt. If you want to learn about like rocket nozzle expansion, definitely watch my Aerospike video. I go all into expansion ratios and how rocket nozzles work. It is the most comprehensive video I've ever made. I want, for whatever reason, I'm going to just start doing launch day sales. So here you go, 10% off for all of you guys watching. You have 24 hours to take 10% off the Aerospike engine t-shirt. Go to everydayastronaut.com/shop, and then click, when you check out, type in launch day, 2 words, lowercase. You can see that link in the description in case you forget what it is. But it is launch day. And also don't forget, I do have the rapid unscheduled discount section. So these are sale items. A couple, we've cleared out quite a bit of stuff. So we just have a few more things, like our Ode to Delta 2 t-shirt. You can get that at checkout, only $15. So if you want to help support what I do and also get some awesome stuff, meanwhile, such as prints and some other cool things, go ahead and go to everydayastronaut.com/shop. I can't tell you how much that means to me. I love seeing you guys wearing that stuff on Twitter and on social media. It really makes me smile. And yeah, you guys are awesome. So thank you for that. And thanks, of course, to my Patreon members. But let's go ahead and get back to you guys. Let's see what you guys have questions about, and let's see what I can answer. Team Falco, new membership. Thank you so much. Paul, thank you. Steven Phoenix, Happy New Year. Where did that go? let's see. Sorry about this. Paul, where'd you go? Man, I got behind. Where are... Jeez, I hate when YouTube does that. I don't even know where we... Okay, there we go. Paul, thank you. Steven, happy year of SpaceX, Tim. Love your album. Well, thank you very much for listening to my album on, I assume, Spotify or iTunes or something. This is going to be an insanely busy year for SpaceX. Like, if you thought last year was cool watching Starhopper and Starship, just you wait. This is going to be a nutty year. Boca Chica is going to see some crazy stuff, and I will, of course, be there to provide you the best coverage I possibly can. I promise. Yeah, so get ready. Basket Vector, thanks for the membership. Viandas, hi Tim, and I can see that lunar lander Lego set creeping out in the corner. Yeah, I have to put that one together still, believe it or not. I've just been waiting. That's one of the things I'm probably going to be putting. I'll talk Patreon members, you guys will know this, but I'm working on a new studio, and I'm going to be decking it out with some really cool things, and that's one of those things I'm going to be decking it out with. Maybe that'll be one of the first things I do is a live stream of putting the lunar lander set together. So, yeah. Seth, thank you for the membership. Justin, supporting you here is much cheaper than going to an actual launch yourself. Thanks for what you do. Well, thanks, Justin. Like I said, I'm really excited for the In-Flight Abort IFA in about a week from, what is that, Saturday-ish or something? I don't know. Maybe not quite. The week from Wednesday or something. That's going to be absolutely amazing. Yeah, I have to go see that one. I'm sad that we're not going to see a booster landing, but when you know you're going to see something spectacular like a booster likely exploding, yeah, you how can you miss that? So that's going to be so awesome. Okay. Let's see. Chad, hey Tim, show us your Telecaster. You've seen my Telecaster 1,000 times. This was the very first electric guitar I ever bought, and it is a Fender Telecaster. What is it? Deluxe when it has it's the thin line with those deluxe pickups, and I really like the way that sounds. It's a nice versatile guitar. You hear it all the time in that album. I played. In Maximum Aerodynamic Pressure, I played that and a Strat most of the time. I also played I have a Tele Baritone that I used a couple times very sparingly, but that's such a bright, I have it like in a really bright bridge pickup, so it's like so tasty, but you got to use it very, very carefully. Thanks, Chad. Roman, hey there, coming from Miami to see the Abort mission. Let's hook up and go for a brew. I will probably be doing a meetup for In-Flight Abort. I've got a lot of stuff I'm trying to do. I'm also going to be doing a family vacation. My parents are staying over on the Gulf Coast. So the rest of my family, my sister and her family are going down. So I'm going to go hang out with them, do this whole thing. But I definitely think I need to do a meetup for that one. And I'll for sure do a meetup for DM2 when I'm out there at the Cape. So there'll be lots of times for meetups. I'll definitely be doing, don't forget, when I do, like around those events like that, I'll do a Patreon smaller meetup where we can just hang out more one-on-one. Just a couple of us, maybe do dinner. And then we will often go somewhere else and do a public meetup. So if that interests you, stay tuned, follow me on Twitter, or, if you want to do more one-on-one stuff with a smaller group, go to patreon.com/everydayastronaut. I'll be posting the link to our exclusive meetup there. And hope maybe I can see you guys at a launch this year. And I'll be doing a lot of things. Oh, I'll also be doing like Fully Charged live in Austin on February 1st and 2nd. So if you live anywhere in Texas or want to go to like an EV thing, I'll be talking actually about rocket pollution at that event. So so if you want to come see me talk to or do something like that, I'll be doing that. I also have another really exciting one that I can't tell you about quite yet, but I'll be announcing that very soon. Another really fun place I'll be going to this year as well. Stay tuned. Like I said, this will be a really fun year. Shane, thanks for the membership. Cardinal Slinky Max Q moon dance during breaks. I mean, we can do that. But I don't know. We got SpaceX radio in the background. I like a little bit of good old, my friends at Test Shot Starfish. John, thank you for the membership as well. Trump Mission Control audio is live and separate stream. Yes. So I'll probably do this another thing on Twitter because I made it very confusing. I still am a little bit confused here between whether or not I should be watching with you guys this version of the SpaceX live stream where they have hosts. I listen to the hosts. We don't talk over the hosts. Or if you guys would rather me watch just the clean, they have like a clean audio only version, basically not audio only, but audio like where you just hear mission control and stuff like that. That's a separate stream. Would you rather me watching that one and talking over it more so I'm not tripping on them? I personally like to kind of watch the hosted ones. I can oftentimes learn extra things. If they do say something that, perks me up, we can talk about that live on air too. So in my opinion, I prefer to do it that way. I don't talk as much, but that's okay. We don't need to hear me talk. It's fun to listen in, obviously. But my whole point of doing what I do is that I can help answer your guys' questions and learn what's going on and what's so exciting. Or if you guys have, if something happens, we can talk about it and figure it out. But if you want to watch just the hosted version, you're more than welcome to watch that. You can come back and watch this one. If you are watching the... you can watch just the mission control version, do that as well. Don't forget, I'm not your only choice. So if you want to see one of the other things, go ahead and watch that on your own too. But I kind of like being with the hosts. Yeah, it sounds like most of you guys are with the host too. All right. So Adrian, thank you so much. I'm not even a very good astronaut because I'm not an astronaut at all, but I do appreciate you saying hi. So thank you. Mallet, let's see. Mallet, thanks for the membership. Tyler, thank you so much. Schizo Jedi, can't wait for your coverage of the abort. Thanks for all you do. You're welcome. I don't know if I told you guys, but I got a 6K camera now too. I have two 4K cameras capable of 120 frames a second. I'm going to have them on some good long lenses, and I'm going to be working with something. I'll show you guys when I get down there. You're going to see, you're going to love it. Hopefully I can do okay. Yeah. Tracking it with it's going to be cool. Yeah. So thank you very much. John, thanks for becoming a member. Well, that's awesome. I really appreciate that. Odani, thanks for the membership. Also, Lucas, hey, love your show and loved the Aerospike video. Flight of the Aerospike came out with a video claiming they now have a working and able to test it versus a bell nozzle. Have you seen it? My thoughts. Yes, Lucas, I have seen that from Arco Aerospace. They've been working on the Flight of the Aerospike series where they're making an Aerospike engine and they're using steam. Steam power, in my opinion, is not a very good option for propelling a rocket. It is, that's a reasonable testbed for them to be able to, but they're kind of skipping over a lot of things because realistically, they don't actually have like a combustion chamber. They just are literally opening some valves to a giant steam container, which I don't know. I'll wait and see. I'll hold my skepticism to see how they do because I want them to succeed. If they're doing it at a cheap cost and able to actually put some payload into orbit, that's incredible. But they do have the ability to swap nozzles, but really all you're doing in that case is redirecting. I don't know. I'll hold my skepticism until they actually produce some tests and that actually might be a decent test bed to see if you literally have the same basically kind of combustion chamber and the same amount of flow, what actually produces more thrust at sea level? Is it going to be a traditional nozzle like that or an Aerospike? Pretty cool. We'll talk about that more if they do something with that. So thank you, Lucas. That's awesome. Derek, can the public watch launches in Florida? Absolutely. If you are even within 2 hours of Kennedy Space Center especially a night launch, you'll see it. If the closer you are, the better, especially if you're in, Titusville, Cocoa, the port. You'll definitely see a rocket launch, and even daytime rocket launches, you'll see pretty clearly from anywhere. Like even in Orlando, you can kind of see it if you know where you're looking, but nighttime is a lot easier for those if you're far away, but it's definitely worth trying to go down to Florida. This will be a good year to go down to Florida if you're trying to catch a launch because the Starlink launches will happen so often that you can pretty much just show up at any time, stay for a week, and there's a really good chance of you catching a launch. So yeah, absolutely. Derek, I do have a video and a link, an article version of how to watch a rocket launch in Florida. Just search for how to watch a rocket launch. I need to update it because it's got some outdated information already. I made it right before Falcon Heavy. Maybe I need to update that before DM2 because that will be another big one. So yeah. Waldo, hello from South Africa. Love the content. Was wondering is South Africa a good location to launch rockets from? Keep up the amazing work. Happy 20s. Thank you so much, Waldo. So South Africa, would be anywhere really, as long as you can have a direct line where you're not flying over populated areas, such as the southern tip of South Africa. If you went straight south, you could get into a polar orbit very easily. The problem is with, I don't know what latitude or longitude it is, but basically you can't fly whatever your, so Kennedy Space Center is at like, I think it's 38 degrees. I don't remember now, but that's the lowest inclination you can put your orbit on is that number. So the closer you are to the equator, the more opportunities you actually have for launch inclinations. So if you want to do a fully equatorial orbit, it's best if it's near the equator. You also gain a little bit of extra rotational speed from the equator, but I'm guessing South Africa is quite a bit further south than the equator than Kennedy Space Center is north. I would have to look at it on a map, but because it always surprises me when you look at a map. In my opinion, like South Africa is, as far south in Africa as you get. It seems like that'd be about as far north as like Alaska, but in real life, it's significantly closer to the equator than you might think. Here, I'm just gonna do this real quick over here. So, is that minus 33 or 19? Well, Florida is about, what is that? Hang on. I'm looking at it by myself here, sorry. Okay, so 29 is Florida, and the southern tip of Africa is 34. So it's a little bit further south, so you wouldn't have that's probably a lot closer to, let's see, 38 is the latitude of launches that happen out of, say, Wallops, where I went down there and I hung out with the CEO of Rocket Lab on their launch pad in December. They just opened up a new launch pad, and Rocket Lab will be launching rockets from the United States, from Wallops, and their lowest inclination is 38 degrees. So yeah, it'd be okay. It'd be better than Wallops as far as those inclination availabilities, but it's not like it's amazing. Like Kenya, Somalia would be amazing. Madagascar would be pretty great. Tanzania, yeah. So the closer you are to the equator, the better. Oh, let's see. Jeez. Thank you, guys. Late plays. Thank you so much. Mike is sweet. Thank you, Puffy Cheeks. Yo, Tim, how do they go to space at daytime? I've seen it. It ain't there at this time. I don't even know what that means. How do they go to space at daytime? No, it's same thing, same process. I don't quite know how to answer that. Sorry. But yeah, you just have to go watch, yeah, it's the same activity. It's just a lot harder to see because it's not illuminating the night sky. So, Kenneth, you're welcome. Thank you very much. Convergent, how is it going again? Great. I've been looking forward to this one. Good. I'm glad. I like I said, I want to do, when I produce content, I want it to be as good as I can make it. I know that gets annoying sometimes because I maybe go a little too extreme, but I am working really hard to get a team assembled for 2020. So hopefully I can start producing more content more often, with the same high quality that hopefully we're all getting used to now. I don't want this just to be a YouTube channel where I kind of find the answers, but I'm, like just Wikipedia and hope that I'm close without having an intimate knowledge of it myself and without having it go through peer review. I want my stuff to be definitive. Like I want it to be a good source for the future so that if in 5 years from now, the video I made about aerospikes is still true, there's not blaringly wrong, things that are just like assumptions I made or something. So I'm excited to get videos out. So, Alejandro talks about this. Please, Tim, get some help with the script so you can make more videos. We specifically love the longer form videos. Yes, I 100% hear you. Trust me, I have as much pressure on myself to get these videos out there as well. I want to produce more videos, and it's going to take a team to start doing that just because I'm getting to that point, which I'm working on. I promise you guys, I am working on that. It's just hard because I do everything at this point. Like from all the little scripting and researching, it's hard for me to figure out what to delegate most. Like if I had someone just editing video, I can't write fast enough to hire someone to do full-time video editing. I know it would at least help me. I wouldn't have to edit it then, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm working on it. And hopefully I'll get a lot more content out there for you guys. Christopher, can you say howdy to your mom, Nancy, watching from her deck in North Carolina? She can usually see the second stage at night when it's on this general azimuth. Your videos have made her a huge fan of spaceflight. That is so cool. Well, thanks, Christopher, for having for at least helping introduce your mom to the awesomeness of spaceflight. So hi, Nancy. I hope you got to see this launch tonight. It did go further northeast than I thought. I didn't, for some reason, I was thinking this one was heading due east. I told someone on Twitter it was going east, so now I realize I am wrong. I hope that you got to see it, and I hope it was amazing. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for learning with me. I hope tonight just brought you a beautiful view. So thank you, both of you guys. Falkert, give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire. I see we have a Metallica fan in the house. Thank you, Falkert. Steven, thanks for the membership. Bree the Wonder Dog. My dad, Scott, really enjoys your content and just introduced me tonight. Thanks for what you do. Well, thank you very much, Bree. That's awesome. I really appreciate that. John Lamb, is your feed watching in HD? Yes, I did get it back in HD. Don't worry. Thank you, though. Brock Hooper, are you planning on doing a meetup while in Florida? Yep. Sorry, we talked about that. I know these, I'm pretty behind, so I'm going to try to get through these a little quicker. Egbert, thank you so much. Paul, love the show. Thanks for all you do. You're welcome. Marcel, thank you. Alexandra, Matt Black Satellites, astronomy is better from the moon. Anyway, yes, absolutely. Thank you very much, Alexander. Jens or maybe Hens. Are there any live maps available of the current Starlink satellites in orbit? Yeah, you can track stuff like that using flightclub.io. Definitely has some stuff, but there are a few other options. I saw something on Twitter. I'll try to tweet about it because I know a lot of people want to be able to see the trains as they're deploying. So eventually they'll get spread out and you won't see them as that train. I did see a train like 2 weeks ago. They're pretty spread out, so it's like just this constant. It was crazy. It was really cool. Jeez. Okay, I gotta get caught up here. I'm missing some very generous things. Thank you guys. Spaceflight Insight. Hey Tim. Hey, I did an in-depth Crew Dragon video on my channel. Maybe shout out to my channel so people can check it out. Well, I will have to see it before I give it a recommendation and fact check your factuality. But I'm excited. That makes me really excited. There's people out there also wanting to help educate. There's so much to talk about that there's like all day in the world. I'm really excited for other content creators. So good luck, Spaceflight Insight. Hopefully you make some awesome content, and hopefully I'll see it pop in my feed. That means YouTube's doing its job of recommending. So I'll give it a watch. I'll see how you do. Thanks for saying hi though. Red X, thanks for what you do. You have brought me into this hobby. Also, have you watched Lost in Space? You're welcome, Red X. I actually have not. I definitely don't like too much sci-fi stuff. I like hard sci-fi, or I like hard science fiction stuff. But people then say I would really like The Expanse, so I'll have to watch that. But I have not watched the new Lost in Space. But thank you, Settler42. Hey Tim, thanks for all your excellent videos. What time of day do you think the crew demo flight is on January 18th? I think the window is something like 8 a.m. to, it's like a 6-hour window, something like that, 8 a.m. Eastern to like 2 or something, or 6 to noon, something like that. It's going to be daylight hours so that they have, the best tracking and best video options available. Something like that. We'll see more in a second. Not Heisenberg. Geez, thank you. Thanks, Tim. Please come back to Vista. Well, I will. I had a ton of fun when we did Our Ludicrous Future live in Vista. That was super awesome. I like that that's in between LA and between LA, San Diego, so people can kind of come from wherever they're at. I think that'll be fun. I also, like I said, in my Astro Awards, I do hope someday in the very near future, I really hope that I can do a European speaking tour someday, and maybe get some other YouTubers and we just kind of do this thing where we talk about science and space and do a panel or something like that. I think that'd be super fun. I'll let you know if I end up with time for that this year. This might not be the year for it, but soon I want to do something like that. European and US. I do some US tours, US cities. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if we get to that point. Dimitri, you've got 25,000 viewers against 120 on the official SpaceX webcast. Your feelings when they're equal. They will never be equal. If they are, that would be honestly a shame, because SpaceX is obviously the one doing all the awesome hard work. Really, my job, I've said this over and over, is literally to be just a professional cheerleader and help teach people what's going on and help them get excited. So I really hope I never get equal to SpaceX's live stream. That would be, I think that would A, be impossible, and B, kind of a shame in my opinion. But that's crazy that 20%, dang. That's pretty great. I mean, that's fun. I thank you guys for hanging out with me. That just means a lot to me. Makes me excited. You guys are awesome. Cardinal Slinky, upvote Starlink for Starliner streams. That would be crazy. Imagine if Starlink ends up having linkability for Starliner and things like that. That would be super, super cool. Let's see, Izio. Thank you, Izio. That means a lot. Hagen, live close to the coast of North Carolina and live close to the coast. That threw me off. I hate that that's the same word. Live close to the coast in North Carolina. Went out to try and see the second stage and saw the entry burn of the first. Well, that's honestly kind of cooler in my opinion. That's super cool. I love sometimes people have been able to capture the arc and then even see the landing burn and stuff. So cool. So cool. V Terrible, thank you so much. Roman, so let's hang out on the in-flight abort mission. Beers on me. Sounds good, Roman. I will have to do that probably the night or the next day after or the day, I don't know, the day before or something. We'll figure it out. Torstein, watching, thank you also, Daniel. Torstein, watching my favorite space nerd cover a rocket launch from a hot tub in the middle of the night while eating ice cream. It doesn't get any better than that. That does sound incredible. I hope your hot tub is big enough for all of us. How rude that you didn't invite us. And I hope you have enough ice cream. That's awesome. Genuinely jealous. Cardinal Slinky. Starlink can help when Teeters cuts out. This is true. So Starliner would have had better connectivity if Starlink was up. That would have been really cool. I mean, that's a valid option. Absolutely. Zoomode. Have you added the domain for Maritime Launch Company to your store? Canada's first spaceport opening next year in the Atlantic Canada. I don't know if I have. If I have the domain and I see it pop through and get rejected, and I'll double check that it's the correct domain, then I will go ahead and add it to our approved domain list. And thank you for opening a spaceport in Canada. That's super cool. Jacob, I'm kind of late to hop on the super chat train, but I wanted to wish you a happy new year. Love your channel. Thank you so much. You guys, this is way too generous. I'm not even remotely caught up yet. And I'm working on it. We're coming up on the end of the mission. But I'll stick around for you guys, obviously. You guys are so great. Thank you. Let's see. Jeez, guys. I can't even... Where are you? Wow. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Ask him when Starlink will be up on pre-sale. I'm assuming you're talking about Elon. I think it's just a matter of... once it's operational, once they have enough coverage, because don't forget Starlink satellites have to kind of all go on all the inclinations so there's not gaps in coverage. The northern parts will have more overlap in those orbits than more southern hemisphere or southern areas are closer to the equator will have weaker, less coverage at first. So northern, there might be some availability to purchase like in the northern bit of the United States at first would be my guess. So from what I've understood, it's just literally a matter of launches. And then once they're ready to go with the actual receiver, but I'll see if I can get some more updates. Maybe if I get the opportunity to have another sit down with Elon, we can hear more about Starlink and talk all about Starlink, about all the controversy of the albedo, the brightness of the satellites, talk about all of the things. If you guys want me to do another interview with Elon, get out on Twitter and just kind of start paying him. I think that worked last time. I really enjoyed my time hanging out with him, and I have 1.5 billion more things I could always talk to him about. So yeah, maybe that'll be one of the things we talk about in person and really get to the nitty gritty of it. Frank, thank you so much. You're awesome. That's very generous. More pairs from Sergeant Big Mike. Thank you so much. Anton, why doesn't SpaceX post after the fact? They do post afterwards. They'll post the whole live stream after the fact. Cool as cats. Thank you so much. Cool as cats. Meow. Oh, meow. Thank you so much, Cool as Cats. You're awesome. Keith Snyder, high medium term watcher, first time question asker. If you could attend a single launch this year outside of SpaceX Abort on the 18th, which would it be? It'd be between Mars 2020 and one of the crewed flight tests. So either DM2 or CFT. I'll be at all of them. But I feel like DM2 is going to be pretty great because that's coming up, I think, pretty darn soon. Like probably in the next 2 months. So fingers crossed for that. Here we go. We'll get back to this.
So far, we've had a on-time liftoff of vehicle. Our first stage made its way back and landed for its fourth time on, of course, I Still Love You. And second stage is on its nominal trajectory right now. Coming up next, we have SES-2, followed immediately by SECO-2, which is second engine cutoff. Now, this will be one of the shortest burns of the Merlin vacuum engine that we do. The burn is short because we don't need a big adjustment in the orbit, but a little bit will go a long way here. Now, that's coming up here in about 30 seconds.
There's that pulsating.
And we've got a live view of the second stage engine there. And we're only burning for just 1 second, so it may not look like much, but it will be lasting 1 second.
Did we miss it already? I think we missed it. Here we go. I was getting a little nervous. That's it. I'm listening closely.
And there was our quick SES-2 followed by SECO-2. Now we're just waiting to confirm good orbit.
GNC confirms good insertion accuracy.
And we just got that call out for good orbit.
Sweet.
So now that we are in good orbit, we'll be coasting for the next 15 minutes or so. So we'll be back around T plus 1 hour and 1 minute for payload deploy.
Sweet. Okay, so we got a few more minutes together here, my friends. Hopefully I can get caught up on your guys' questions, because looks like we had some unbelievably nice people here tonight. So let's get to that. So Keith, if I were you, the one that this year would probably be DM1 or the Mars 2020. Those are the two, but I think if I had to make it one, it'd be DM1. DM1 will be the big one for me. Really excited about that. Cool as cats. Thank you. That is absolutely unnecessary. I really, really appreciate that. Everyone say thank you to Cool as Cats. And I really like per cats in space. That is the that is the message that that Cool as Cats wanted to send. Thank you very, very much. Everyone say thank you to Cool as Cats. That is unbelievably nice. Let's hear it, everybody. Thank you. Thank you, Cool as Cats. Spaceflight. Hey, I did it. Already got that one, Spaceflight. All right, sorry if you missed it or if it just took me so long to get to it. Cardinal Slinky, shirt for In-Flight Abort. Ooh, I don't know, guys. I'm trying to not make shirts that are like for a very specific thing or some kind of like, you know, the companies do such a good job of making mission t-shirts and shirts that are kind of more like that, almost like, you know, gift shoppy. I'm trying to really make merchandise that's like general space flight and like kind of a little bit more long-termish. But I do love the In-Flight Abort. And if In-Flight Abort does something absolutely crazy, we'll definitely have to make a t-shirt for it to memorialize it or do something cool. So so thank you, though. We'll see. I mean, we'll see. You never know. Seamaster Flex, Tim, what does your family think about you being, I'm putting quotes around celebrity, because being a celebrity now, interviewing Elon and Jim B, that's Jim Bridenstine, sorry. So my parents are very proud. They, I think for a little while, they're kind of confused. You know, it's kind of a confusing thing, especially answering friends' questions. Like, so what's your son do again? And the short answer now that I tell them to say is, you know, if I introduce myself to someone, the quick, easy answer is, I teach rocket science on YouTube. And that way it's just kind of this blanket thing. I don't try to like, it was a lot more confusing when I used to wear the space suit. I'd be like, I'm a genuine fake astronaut on YouTube. You know, like it's just like this really convoluted thing. But now my parents, I think, have a little bit more understanding. They have met some of my fans, have come to a couple meetups. So I think they have that perspective now. I think it's hard, you know, if you're not paying attention, YouTube is very strange because YouTube has some people that to some people, like they might be there's, you know, a YouTuber maybe with like 20,000 subscribers that are very loyal, that to those 20,000 people, they are the biggest fan of that person. So that person could be walking down the street, have a totally, normal day. And if they run into one of those 20,000 people, they might freak out, and someone next to them be like, who is that? And they'd be like, it's this YouTuber named Cool as Cats that, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, I've never heard of him. It's this weird time we live in where it used to be, you had to be like a movie star to be a celebrity. And your name had to be just absolutely like, worldwide recognizable. And nowadays there's like niche celebrities, there's like everyone just has like a couple people that they follow along with very closely that in their eyes are celebrities, and to the person right next to them, they have no idea. So it's unusual, and that's kind of hard to explain to your parents that like, that's what I do for a living, is I teach rocket science for YouTube or whatever. And for them to not, it took them a little while, I think, to really kind of catch up. But now they love it. And they went to the first Falcon Heavy demo mission in 2018, so almost 2 years ago. That was their first and only launch to date, but there's a chance they'll actually be able to catch the In-Flight Abort. So we will see. So yeah, that's what they think now. It's super fun. And they get it now too, that I think with the Elon and the Jim Bridenstine thing helped them understand that. And in like the latest interview with Peter Beck, made them realize that it's not just some like thing for me. It's like my job, and it's actually what I do and what I love to do. So they get it. Summit. I need the host. Okay. We will keep the host. I think I'll double check it again on Twitter here soon, but I think everyone agreed that hosted events were better. Patrick had an interview at SpaceX, almost made third where I would have been flown out to Hawthorne and given a tour of the factory. Didn't quite make it. Hey, Patrick, I'm sorry to hear that for now, but hey, there's always new opportunities. There's lots of awesome spaceflight companies. Definitely take a look, Rocket Lab, ULA, Blue Origin. There's Firefly. There's so many, Boeing, Aerospace, Lockheed Martin. I mean, all these people are still doing awesome things. Northrop Grumman, of course. Take a look. You're just at the very sliver of the aerospace industry by applying at SpaceX. There's a lot of people to apply for. Lots of doors open. Don't let that get you down. Go out there and get an awesome job, and then tell us about it in the future. So good luck, Patrick. Jackson, you just do you, boo. We all love your work. Thank you, Jackson. Summit, thanks for the new membership. Leah, you and Mission Control, please, or maybe try one and see how it goes. I have debated just trying one to see how it goes. So maybe I'll try it, but I think the general consensus is people do like to listen along with me. Cool as Cats again. Love what you do. Have a bunch of your shirts. Love to all space nuts. Also cats in space. I hope this is someone that can actually put a cat in space in a capsule. Trust me, I want the cat pack, please. But I saw a thing one time about when they were working on the vomit comet, the thing that basically is like short bursts of 30 seconds of weightlessness, and letting a cat try to fix its orientation in those is really entertaining. So hopefully, when you were talking about cats in space, hopefully they are cats that are in a properly enclosed capsule and safe and pettable, because I think that's the whole point. And still, I would love if a cat got oriented to 0G and they're just like bouncing off the walls, because cats are so crazy and wild. Anyway, thank you, Coolest Cats. I don't even know what to say. I'm just like very flabbergasted. That is very generous. You do not have to do that, but thank you. Sam Pragia Argowal says Elon is your daddy. That is great. Would be a great dad. He is a great dad to 5 kids. Gordon Butt, thank you for the pair that I still don't get, but I appreciate it. And again, Cool as Cats. Daddy is my Elon. But seriously, Elon, congrats and keep doing it, brother. Thank you. I don't know what that... I don't even know what to say. Thank you. I don't know what to say about that, but thank you. Sincerely, thank you. Brent, new membership. Gordon Butt. Do you know how long until the satellites deploy? Yeah, we are about 7 more minutes if you are watching this. So, Marcus Langendorf. Tim, will they do what will they do with the booster stage on the in-flight abort test? Will they make it make it a rapid scheduled disassembly for extra realism? See, that I don't actually know. I don't know if I've been confirmed whether or not they will actually be triggering the abort and the flight termination system and then aborting off the booster, or if they will abort off the booster, and in doing so, the aerodynamic pressure and the dynamic loads will rip the booster apart because it will now be exposed. So then, don't forget, a nose cone is a vital piece of rocketry. It's not just some arbitrary thing that helps create the right amount of airflow over the fuselage, preventing it from, that's, if you watch the Starliner launch, so Boeing has a unique situation where they have, I think it's 4 or 5 meter, I think it's 4 meter wide vehicle tapering down to about a 3 meter wide Centaur upper stage. And then it tapers back out to 3.7 or 4 meters ish wide first stage. And so what happens is the shockwave goes out over the capsule and can actually reattach at the booster and create these high pressure areas on the Centaur upper stage. And so in order to prevent that, they actually had to lengthen the skirts so the airflow goes and doesn't reattach until further down on the booster. I'm not sure if they're going to intentionally destroy the booster or if it'll just be destroyed in the process of pulling the abort system during the launch. So, so thank you, Marcus. Flat word. Who here has $100 to throw around? How many? I don't know, but thank you. Samuel, thank you so much. For the memberships, Sumit, I can help you, Tim. Don't worry, we do have some good help, and it's coming, and like full-time help. So thank you. Coolest Cats again. Jeez. Oh man. Showing the love. Thank you so much. And purr, says Coolest Cats. I really appreciate that. You are awesome. That really means a lot. I don't know how you're helping me get to the thing we're going to be talking about soon in Patreon. So thank you. Thank you. Flat says some things. I appreciate the Truman Show, so thank you. Andrew, thank you for the membership. Billy Leedy, thanks for all the great content and looking forward to what you bring in the future. Thank you so much, Billy. Paul, membership, thank you. BLP Urrock, could they have a constellation-based radio telescope in the future? A dual-function Starlink? Absolutely. So that's the cool thing is, there is the option, if you have a lot of satellites, you could even just put relatively small optical sensors or optical telescopes and create basically giant arrays of telescope, kind of like we did with the Event Horizon telescope, where they synchronized them all within percentages of millimeters to be able to basically create the world's largest telescope using the Earth kind of as a telescope. I talked about that in this year's Astro Awards. So if you want to kind of learn about the Event Horizon telescope and how they took pictures of a black hole using 8 different satellites from around, or 8 different observatories from around the world, I think they'll be able to do something like that with Starlink, using it kind of as a satellite bus, attaching different peripherals based on a few different things. So I think so. I think we'll see some, and it could be, they can be radio telescopes, they could be optical, they could be all sorts of things. So I think that'd be really cool. Henry Whitehead, hi from Australia. I'm thinking of traveling to the Cape to see my first launch ever around mid-year. In your opinion, what launch would you travel halfway around the world to see this year? The cool thing is, you could definitely plan on the Mars 2020 rover being a pretty reliable launch to see, because it has a pretty small window. There's only a couple months where they can launch with relative ease to Mars. So you can rely more on those dates than on something else. Because if a slip in a Mars 2020 date means it slips 26 months to the next opening. So there's a lot of pressure to get it out there, to get it right. It's launching on an Atlas V, which is a very reliable vehicle. I think that would be one, because that will be mid-year. I would track that one. I would still try to not book your flight until the payload's at the Cape. And if you can, I know this sounds insane, but if you can wait until only about 2 weeks ahead of time to actually book your flights to save yourself that headache and book the rest of the trip, you'll thank me. The longer you can go, the closer you can get to the launch window before you book stuff, the more you'll thank me. And I know it might be a little more expensive. It might be 20% more expensive, but it's worth the assurance, because literally the further away you are from any launch, the absolutely more uncertainty there is about that date holding. So the closer you can get to the date. So I personally, I don't actually start heading out to a launch with SpaceX missions until static fire. Once it's static fired and they say we're good to go for this next date, that's typically when I'll start heading down or finalize travel plans and stuff like that. I know that's only about 3 days. So that's a little bit impossible for someone traveling from Australia, but if you can do it, if you can do it about 2 weeks ahead, or get flexible travel plans or something like that, you will be very happy about that. Cool as cats again. A plug for PBS Space Time. Jeez. All right. Well, I think that's worth saying, a plug for PBS Space Time. Yes, PBS Space Time. Go check it out on PBS. Super, super cool. Thank you again, Cool as Cats. You are cool as cats. I think you're even cooler than cats. I really appreciate that. Definitely check out PBS Space Time. So, also, I do need to point out, we need to point this out real quick before the stream comes back. Notice the vehicle, the upper stage is starting to rotate. That's how they deploy these Starlink satellites. They put it into a rotation like this. They kind of go end over endish sideways, and then they just let go of all 60. They pop these springs off, they let go of all 60, and they just kind of float away. And it's a really cool deployment method. Never seen anything else like that. But again, thanks, Cool as Cats. Everyone say thank you to Cool as Cats, and say hi to PBS and check out PBS Space Time. So, thank you. I Swallow. I still can't even talk after that. Jeez. I Swallow. What do you think about Space Camp? I got to experience a little bit of it. I got sent down to Space Camp. When was that? The end of 2018 for Nat Geo for the Mars series, and I got to play around at Space Camp in Alabama, in Huntsville. It was super cool. It would be. If you could spend a whole week there, especially as a kid when you're in those formative years, they do some really cool things. The Space Shuttle Simulator and Trainer was definitely my favorite thing. Okay, here we go.
We are getting ready for payload deploy. Now, the 60 Starlink satellites are flatly stacked on top of Falcon 9 for efficiency, so all 60 satellites are going to be released all at once. It's going to look a bit different from other separation sequences you've seen, aside from Starlink, of course. But once released from Falcon 9, the satellites will slowly disperse. They might even bump into each other, which is totally okay. They were designed with this in mind. We are currently less than a minute away from deployment. So let's wait till we get that acquisition of signal and watch it live.
Tension rods released and payload deploy confirmed.
All right, you just heard the call out. Let's wait till we get that video again. There we go. That's all 60 of those Starlink satellites on their merry way.
So weird.
It's a beautiful sight. Just to give you guys an update on the fairing, we didn't catch it this time. We got really close, but we're going to keep on trying again and give you more updates as that continues. And with that, that brings our webcast to a close. Thank you to the 45th Space Wing for range safety today, to the FAA for licensing today's launch, and a thank you to the FCC for licensing operation of these satellites.
We'd also like to thank all of our viewers for tuning in. Follow our website and social media platforms for updates on our next missions and milestones. Thanks for joining us for the first launch of 2020. And until next time, have a Happy New Year.
Sweet. Making it look easy. They really do. Congrats, SpaceX. Jeez, we're going to see a lot of those this year. We're going to see, I'm going to say it, we're going to see too many of them this year. I can't wait. We've got a few more of you guys' things to answer, so let's just get to it here. So Space Camp, definitely recommend. It's really well done, really well organized, and there's actually a lot of really cool stuff they can teach you. So even as an adult, it'd be a lot of fun. I think it'd be a lot of fun if you did it with friends, or, go there and meet friends. That'd be awesome too. All right, so Joachim says, will you test Starlink when it's available? Absolutely. I will be Starlink's first customer. I will sign up. I will pre-sign up. I will get my name on that list as soon as it's absolutely available at all. I do so many things, like especially live launches, traveling, all these times where if I had my own dedicated bandwidth that's just reliable anywhere I go around the world, I would love it. So yes, I will absolutely test and buy and be a consumer of Starlink ASAP. They can't take my money soon enough. TD, hey, everyday astronaut. Just curious, based off my own industry, but how would welding work in space or on Mars? I'm really fascinated by it, but there is no info. TD, that's actually a good question. I was just thinking about this the other day. I don't exactly know too much about welding in general. I definitely don't know that much about welding in space. The only thing I know about welding, I welded my own exhaust when I was a kid in the basement of my parents' house. And I was doing, which is definitely not recommended, braze welding, holding onto this steel rod, and I held onto it with one hand and the torch in the other, and was just kind of adding it and trying to do it along the seam. And at one point, I set the hot metal rod down on my shoe, which my shoe is just a normal shoe, so the rod went straight through the shoe and into my foot, a couple millimeters. That felt good. So don't ask me questions about welding. I'm definitely not the person to ask unless you want to put metal rods, scalding metal rods under your feet. But I'm assuming it has something to do with bringing your own oxidizer. I will look into that because that would actually be a really good video, especially as we start working on space assembly. Having the ability to weld parts together would be really, really cool. So good question. And it might be something similar to how you weld underwater. And I would have to do a little bit of research to really figure that out. So yeah. All right, Luxembourg. My dad, where was that? Oh. Almost getting caught up. I love you guys, though. Jeez. Okay. Luxembourg, my dad's birthday is in 2 weeks. Could you please say happy birthday? He loves your content and even has one of your shirts. Thank you so much. Well, that is awesome. Happy birthday to Luxembourg's dad. That's so cool. Thanks for being a fan. Thanks for supporting what I do. And even representing and wearing my swag. That's awesome. I really, really appreciate that. Cheers to an awesome 2020. It's going to be great. So thank you. Jonathan Hopkins, hey, YouTube Andrew Yang. Guys, I'm sorry, but I really don't talk like politics or anything on the show. That's why I try to avoid even things like when people say things like what's coming up here. But yeah, thank you, Jonathan. I really appreciate that. Odani, why does crew have bigger window than cargo? That's the human element. That's like literally the biggest difference between crew and cargo. Cargo doesn't need windows. There's nothing for cargo to look at. And humans, that's a big part of spaceflight, is being able to watch, seeing space through your windows, having visual confirmation of your orientation. So if you are the commander of a spacecraft, you'll want to be able to see out the window, see if the Earth is, lined up and not spinning crazily, or see the space station as you're approaching and make sure that everything's looking good and that your instrumentation isn't off and things like that. So visual representation, but also just, you got to have windows. If you're going to space, you got to have windows. So that's why. Thanks, Flat. You can have your own opinions, but yeah. Cool. James, any idea yet what service will cost? No idea, but I'm really hoping they can undercut the traditional market. That would be really cool to see if they become one of the biggest telecom industries. And actually, to Flat's defense, that will actually prove that they're putting things in orbit and providing internet satellite data anywhere. So as soon as you can literally be in the middle of nowhere, wherever you want to be, anywhere, it can only come from one place, and that is space. And that's the beauty of Starlink, and that's why Starlink's going to be a big game changer. So, Anton, everyday astronaut, I meant, why not post full HD videos without cutouts after the fact? Seems like the cost is just the SD card. Yeah, Anton, so ULA does that. ULA posts, they'll do like a ride the booster. And I love that. And that's one of those things that I've asked Elon to do. Next time I have the opportunity to sit one-on-one with Elon, I'm going to get him on camera to say that he will release high resolution video from ascent to landing. And some of it might have to do with legalities, and ITAR restrictions, but if ULA can do it, and I'll use that on him, like, hey, guess what? ULA does something better than you guys. And I hope just in saying that, he'll be like, all right, you're right. We got to release that footage, because that'll be awesome footage to have, totally. But there may be some proprietary things that they just don't want people to be able to, pick up on too easily. So, yeah. So thank you, also Anton. Hi ADA. I don't quite know what all this means. I'm chilling. Does Starship have something shuttle bay? I'm sorry, I don't even know what that means. Does Starship have event of Shuttle Bay? I'm sorry. I love you, Dequinox. That's a great question, I think. I just unfortunately have no idea what it means. But thank you. Thank you, Dequinox. If someone can translate that, let me know. A payload bay. Does Starship... So, like a payload bay. Yeah, sure. Well, I'll answer just in case this might... I think this is what you're talking about. So Starlink... Starship will have a couple variants. There'll be a tanker variant with no payload bay, no people on it. Literally fill that payload with 150 tons of extra fuel and oxidizer, go up, dock to another Starship, fill it up, There's also going to be a crew version, which is basically like a giant Dragon capsule on the top that's permanently mounted without an abort system, most likely. If you want to know more about that, I have that video about Starship abort systems. But they also have a cargo variant that opens up kind of like an alligator, like this, and stuff will deploy. It has a huge, it's almost, what's the number? I have it, I'm doing research for that, but it's almost as big as, I don't have that data handy. I think it's 900 cubic meters of pressurized volume. So it has a huge payload bay that can be opened up, and you can release massive satellites. So super, super, super cool. Hopefully that answers your question. Renaud, Happy New Year, Tim, listening while at work. Quick question. Do you think that SpaceX will manufacture the larger fairings required for the military contract they applied for in-house, or buy them from a third party? Renaud, I'm honestly thinking it'll be really hard. I needed to know more about this because I have heard so many conflicting things about potentially using bigger fairings. The short answer is you just can't make those fairings bigger. And SpaceX is trying really hard for the Air Force to basically say, okay, we will ride Starship. It's just hard to get them to agree to that because Starship, they could fit as big of a satellite as you can possibly imagine in Starship, no problem. So I don't know about the whole fairing thing. I would need some more concrete data. I'll try to figure that out and see if I can hear more. So, Mike is sweet. Cool as Cats is a boss. Yes, cool as Cats. Thank you. You are absolutely awesome. Mudflap Myers, love your streams. You should just be SpaceX's host. Nah, I like what I do. I like SpaceX hearing all their actual experts, the people building the rockets. I like hearing from them. I think that's really cool. They do a great job too. They have really good hosts. So, I like doing what I do. This is great. I can interact with you guys live. If I was hosting a live stream on SpaceX, which would never happen, but if it did, I wouldn't be able to interact and talk to you guys. So, yeah. Suds, I just want to point out that currently have a quarter of the views this actual SpaceX stream. That is amazing. Love the content. Thank you, Suds. That's crazy. I don't even know how that happens. That's nuts. Thank you. Michael Garner, send love to Cool as Cats. Yes, everybody. Cool as Cats. It's awesome. Suds just wanted to point out that I already got that. Night Fox. Dealing with an issue at work, so didn't really get to watch much, but I'm glad to see it was another resounding success. Thank you, Tim, for everything you do. You're welcome, Night Fox. Thanks for joining. Thanks for hanging out. The Spectre 91, thank you very much. Al Alas Conquere, you are a star. Thanks for all the hard work researching and putting together videos. You're welcome. Thank you for joining. That means a lot. Thanks for the membership. MD Doc, Bright Eyes, love all that you do, that you give us for free. Well, thank you, Bright Eyes. That's the beauty of YouTube, is that you guys can participate if you want for free, totally free. And if you want to help me do what I do, you guys are doing it. You're already doing it. And of course, my Patreons, and the people that are in my Discord channel through Patreon. And I couldn't ask for more. You guys are awesome. And all of you guys, you guys are seriously incredible. This is the weird world we live in where you guys can all, we can all do this together. We can all learn together. We can all watch rockets together. It's just crazy. So thank you, Bright Eyes. Nick, thanks. Nick says, thanks for all the videos. Any advice for seeing a launch here in California? Nick, I've only been to one launch in California, and that was way back in 2014. And that was what was that? OCO2, Carbon Observatory. So Orbital Carbon Observatory 2 on a Delta 2. And that was in July of 2014. So I would need to update it. I need to get out there and do more. So before I really have a video. But that is the thing. I want to do a video for that, like New Zealand, where to see them in, Kazakhstan, where to see them in Wallops, like do a whole series where I actually go around and show you where to stay, where to be, blah, 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 where to stand, where to go. I think that'd be really cool. And that's something that hopefully I can do. So someday. Karisu, thank you so much. Awesome Fox. You're welcome. Alex, what's my podcast? The podcast link is in the description. Our Ludicrous Future. I do it every week. I feel like that podcast is super fun. We talk about really cool stuff. Long form content. So if you're one of those people that's wanting to hear people chat and just go off about rocket science and cars and future technology and things like that, definitely give it a listen. Our Ludicrous Future. The link is in the description. You can listen to it anywhere you want. It's a lot of fun. Again, I do like 20, 30 minutes, at least 40, 50 minutes of space news each week. So if you want your fill of that, if you want to hear more from me, a lot of people do ask me like, hey, why don't you do like a few shorter, like keep us up to date on space news. Like I don't have time to do that with a produced video each week. That's what this podcast is for. This podcast is where I can tell you guys what happened in the past week. The other two guys can ask about it. And we can hang out and just kind of like nerd out together. So definitely do that. Let's see. Fudge Knuckle, could it hurt the mission for Musk to? That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know. How hostile? I'll answer the last part of that question. How hostile is politics in public on YouTube? Have you been on YouTube? Have you been on YouTube? Like YouTube is the most hostile place to even remotely mention anything political or religious. I feel like that's why I just avoid it at all costs. My whole thing is I want us to come together on something that we all love, exploring space. I don't care what you believe, what your political background is, what your religious background is. I don't care. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to think about that. I'm here to watch spaceflight. I'm here to talk about spaceflight, learn and watch humans go and explore and do cool things in space. I don't want anything to be at all divisive between us. This is the one thing we can finally agree upon, even though there's still people that are like, "Ooh, boo, Boeing, boo, Blue Origin, blue, SpaceX, blah, blah." Like, no. Don't ruin this for us. Just let us all cheer something together. Like, let's all be on the same team for once, please. Like, it's so ridiculous. So, to answer the last, how hostile is politics and YouTube on public? Horrible. That's why I avoid it at all costs. McFinn, excited to see what SpaceX can do this decade. Me too. It'll be huge. I cannot wait. It's going to be nuts. So stand by. Dalek says, you teach me so much about space. Please do a video on how to dock to the ISS. That'd be a good one, especially as we're coming up on those missions. That'd be a good fun one it'd be relatively quick and easy to do. I say that it'd probably still be a 30-minute video. But yeah, I would actually have to do some research to figure out the exact holding patterns and everything, because they have this whole exclusion zone and everything. It's pretty crazy. So thank you, Dalek. Butter Chuli, good afternoon from Australia, aspiring aerospace engineering student here. I'm excited for the future of the Australian Space Agency, absolutely, and I hope to find employment with them once they're operational, coming up soon. So get through your studies and kick some butt, and I have no doubt you'll be getting a job at the Australian Space Agency. And I love that. I love that. We need more of that. Maybe you guys can help do awesome things on an international level, of course. Odani, sorry, meant lunch window. Sorry, what was Odani talking about? Oh man, I lost it. Odani. Oh wait, why does crew have bigger launch window than cargo? I get it. Why does crew have bigger launch windows than cargo? Got it. They don't. The short answer is they don't. The Boeing might have a bit more of a launch window because they actually program in every second to match up to a dogleg maneuver with the Atlas V and the Centaur upper stage. So what they can do is they can basically launch it at an inclination and then let the Centaur upper stage do the adjustment basically and get it into the right exact perfect alignment. But I don't think they even can do anything but an instantaneous still, even with that. And that being said, Crew Dragon or Crew capsules might have a launch window, but it's the same. SpaceX launches are all virtually instantaneous now with their super chilled propellants. So yeah, there you go. I think that's right, unless you guys know something else, but yeah. Okay. Adrian wants to know, Tim, will the Starlink satellites train be visible on the East Coast here in New Jersey? I'm planning to sleep outside tonight. I don't know if they'd be too readily available tonight. You have to have these certain windows. They're only really available for the next like hour and a half after sunset and about an hour and a half before sunrise. That's when they're most visible. After that, they're really, really, really hard to see. So they're most visible when it's already dark here and the sun has either set or not set. So yeah, don't worry about it tonight. I would probably wait until, again, check out flightclub.io, and I'll try to link to some resources later on Twitter about how you can actually catch the Starlink stuff. So give it a look. Michael Garner, your viewers are so awesome. Big shout out to them. Yes, seriously, I say this all the time. I have the best fans. You guys are absolutely incredible. Again, I can't even explain what it's like to have this job that I have and have people supporting me like you guys do. Just showing up, over 20,000 of you showing up for a launch, like to watch it with me. That's insane. That's super cool. You guys are awesome. And yeah, we're coming up on 500,000 subscribers. I never thought that day would come. Like, I just really wasn't ever planning on that. I thought 100,000 was like the impossible number. Like, imagine someday if I had 100,000 subscribers. And now 3 years later, 500, like, yeah, I produced my first video. I released my first edited scripted video February 27th, 2017. So we're less than 3 years away. I had basically 0 subscribers, maybe like 400 or 300 or something at the time. And that was the first time I made like a legit YouTube video, not just like recaps or something like that. And I never would have guessed that hopefully, I'm assuming we'll break 500,000 here by the end of the month. So you guys are incredible. Thank you. Best viewers. Absolutely. Oh, Sam, what sites do you use for telemetry? I remember you mentioning Flight Club earlier in the stream. Are there any other sites you use? Flight Club is the go-to. Flight Club will teach you everything. Declan is incredible. So Flight Club, yeah, that's what I use. And Kerbal for some things if I need to like visualize something, but Flight Club. Suds, thank you. Ben, thank you. Mobius, would you consider attending a Spaceport America Cup? It is an international collegiate rocketry competition. I maybe would. I don't know. I have never heard of that, and I would like more information. Would consider, if it's something where they could use my help, or if they want someone to help like announce or something. I don't know, but that'd be super fun. Thank you, Mobius. John, what effects do you think Starlink will have on the monopoly current ISPs have? It'll disrupt. It'll be a huge industry disruptor. There are the weirdest, like borders between ISP, so internet service providers currently. The United States is really bad about some cities. Like my friend lives in Seattle. He only has one option in Seattle, Washington, and it's horrible. It's like the worst internet. He has like 10 meg down, and he can't afford anything else because it's like $150 or something stupid. I don't remember where it is. He's in this. There's like these zones, and I think Starlink will be so disruptive and in so many ways that it'll just be nuts. So I think it will have a huge effect, and I want that. That's good. Competition. Make them roll out better internet, make them compete, make it so if you have a hard landline that they actually have to work for it. That's what I think. Christopher, thank you for the membership. Lucas, I'm an EE in the EV industry. If you ever need help with electronics for your shows, happy to help. Awesome. Thank you, Lucas. Very cool. I assume EE means electrical engineer. Very, very cool. The EV industry is super fun to watch right now. So cool to see. Sony just released a car tonight. We'll definitely be talking about that on Our Ludicrous Future this week. I can't wait. Yeah. M40.com. What's this about you wanting to get rid of the C as it's useless? Mark in Minneapolis. I'm going to destroy the letter C. C is useless. Think about it. C either sounds like an S or it sounds like a K, or you put a H after it, so it's reliant on the H to become a ch sound. So you might as well make it KH is now a ch. So cheese will be spelled KHEESE. No big deal. Alphabet. We'll just have to sing it different. I still got to figure it out. It's really hard to do. A, B, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard. I'll figure it out. It'll be like a 2-week long thing. I don't know. No more C. David, thank you so much. You're welcome. Me and Elon have rekindled your 50 plus years of love for Spaceflight. David, thank you. That's super cool. I love to see that there's people that have been able to watch really cool things happen in spaceflight, are able to rekindle that love. That's kind of what got me, is like I didn't quite have that experience as a kid, and this feels like that Apollo era coming back, and exciting times where things are going so quickly. So thank you, David. That's very generous of you, and thank you for following along and hanging out and watching with us. That's super cool. I really, really appreciate that. And David Wilson, I would love to see the Walter Cronkite with a Falcon model open the fairing and show 60 Starlinks tumble out. Yes, that would be someday. I'll spin a model and have the fairing pop open and watch Starlink's satellites pop out. We'll do that someday. Thank you, David. And Jalen, thank you. I'm going to tune out, guys. My throat is about to explode. I feel like I've been talking way too much. You guys are awesome. So thanks again for tuning in with me. Again, reminder, if you guys want to take 10% off, you have officially, you have, what do you have right now? Like 23, 22 more hours left. You can get 10% off the Aerospike Engine t-shirt that I'm currently wearing. Go to everydayastronaut.com/shop, type in launch day. You have 24 hours, get in there, get yourself an Aerospike Engine t-shirt at 10% off. Or grab anything else while they're in stock. We're working on a few new things. And of course, the Ode to Delta T is on sale as well. We're going to clear out the remaining inventory on those. So limited run, you won't see those ever again. But yeah, we're working on some new stuff too. So get in there while you can. Get in there, get the Lunar Mission T. That's one of my absolute new favorites. This one's super, super cool. Yeah, and notice that it says Lunar Mission, remove shoes before cabin, and that's exactly what the tag says too. So definitely check that out. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me tonight. You guys are awesome. Looks like we had one more membership. Sabrina, thank you for the membership. If you guys want to help support what I do and help me get down to in-flight abort test and absolutely knock it out of the park with what I promise will be the best live coverage I've ever done, because I've bought tons of awesome gear that I think I know how to run and I think will be awesome and make it even better. If you want to help me do what I do, please consider going to patreon.com/everydayastronaut, where you can gain access to our Discord channel. Hi guys. Our subreddit and exclusive live streams as well, where I'll kind of let you in with some more behind the scenes stuff. And you can help me script and research and catch facts before factual errors before I put a video out, because that's like my biggest pet peeve is when I write a script and realize I have like a thing just slightly off. Ooh. So yeah. Hey, Ethan. All right. I'm going to get out of here, guys. Thank you so much for everything. That's going to do it for me. I'm Tim Dodd, the Everyday Astronaut, bringing space down to Earth for everyday people. Bye, everybody.